Real estate. It'll be a mainstay of our program once again for 2021. Each Saturday this year we'll be holding our own open house. I'll invite the country's leading real estate experts to share their thoughts on the market. Peter O'Malley, of course, is a regular. He's a consultant with Harris Partners in Balmain. He joins me in the studio to run through his list of what's hot and what's not for 2021. Are you listening? Do you have a pen? Do you have a paper? It may come in handy for 2021. Peter O'Malley, Happy New Year to you, sir.
Happy New Year to you, Chris.
Now, the real estate industry over that early January, late December period, you button off, right? You check out. You have a holiday.
Between Christmas and New Year, we closed down, and not much happened between there. But we did sell 3 properties on the 24th of December.
Did ya?
That's right, and 2 sold this week. So positive finish to 2020, positive opening.
Very much so. And so people want to get it done before Christmas, right? Christmas
That's right.
Day. Very much so. Right to the nth degree. How interesting is that? How did we finish 2020? We know how you finished, but how did we, as a community, in terms of house prices, buying and selling, how did we finish?
We finished up for the year. So given the drama that happened through 2020, that was a remarkable feat. I think the money that the government splashed around in combination with the 3 interest rate cuts through 2020 drove that positive result.
Okay, let's take a look at what's hot. Now, I've been hearing through the pandemic that regional areas have become a place of choice for so many people who didn't enjoy the lockdowns, don't have a great positive attitude about what's ahead. They want to get out of their cities, get out of the gridlock in particular, and have a look at regional Australia. And a lot of people have been on holidays in regional Australia too, and they've got a taste of what life might be like. So where are we situated? What's your call on regional New South Wales, for instance?
Regional New South Wales and lifestyle markets, Chris, have been the winners out of the pandemic and will be in 2021. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
So the pandemic was a catalyst for baby boomers to reassess their affairs. In combination with employers happy for their employees to work from home, those 2 factors drove the regional markets. So through the media over summer, we've all heard about Byron Bay ad nauseum, and the boom that's going on up there as people flock to Byron Bay and surrounds. But it's happening in Kiama, it's happening in the Southern Highlands, it's happening on the Central Coast. So there's no doubt there's been a flight of buyers to the regions.
Right, I'd understand about Kiama. Kiama is one of the most underestimated spots in all of New South Wales.
Absolutely. Very special. And it's only an hour and 50 minutes from the middle of Sydney to Kiama now with all the fantastic new roads that we've got.
Yeah, the new roads south of Wollongong have made such a difference. I can understand that. Houses will outperform apartments again?
Yes, they will. There's an oversupply of apartments in Sydney, unfortunately, and that's being exacerbated by the closure of the international borders. The rental market, particularly in the inner city and university locations, has been hollowed out, where it's much easier to build an apartment block into the sky than it is a new housing development in a desirable location. So houses will be very hot in 2021, and we've already sold 2 this week. Massive numbers at inspections this morning. The market is opening strong and buyers seem interested in houses more than apartments.
So you're saying the 16th of January, massive number of inspections?
As there was last Saturday on the 9th. So the home, one of the homes that we sold during the week was listed for the first time last Saturday. 16 parties turned up on the Saturday and another 8 on the Sunday morning.
That's earlier than normal, is it not?
Yeah, look, buyers can't travel, obviously. Neither can estate agents. Estate agents normally don't come back till around Australia Day. I think the numbers will show that listing numbers and sales numbers for this January will be at record highs in comparison to previous years for that reason.
So with an oversupply of apartments, those who own their apartments and are renting them out at the moment, those with investments, what can they look forward to, or don't they have much to look forward to in 2021?
Unfortunately, it's going to be another tough year as far as existing landlords go. Right. I don't think you'll see any meaningful respite until the international borders reopen and we start to see the international students coming back.
Okay. Which capital cities should investors keep an eye on?
This time last year, Chris, I picked Brisbane houses, and I'm going to stick with that again for 2021. Brisbane houses rose around 5% last year.
Right.
They probably would have done a little bit more if it weren't for the pandemic. The story's good up there. They're enjoying good population growth, being fairly free of the virus, and the median house price in Brisbane is about half that in Sydney.
Yeah.
So I think you'll increasingly see those families that don't go to the regions but do want to escape Sydney will look to cities like Brisbane and to a lesser degree Perth, which is finally looks like it's bottomed and is on the way up.
You can't get into Perth, though.
That's correct.
Gee, unbelievable, that hard border. Now, the rich are getting richer. Do you think upper end markets are zooming as well?
This is not a Sydney phenomenon or a Melbourne phenomenon. This is a global issue. And what has happened during this pandemic, as central banks have played games with markets to keep economies on track, is asset prices have skyrocketed. So we've seen stock markets are booming and are overpriced. You look at things like Bitcoin, there's money spilling around everywhere. And the end result of that is that the upper end of society, the rich are getting richer. I saw it described during the week that there's asset inflation for the rich and there's cost of living inflation for the rest of us.
Right. One of the things that I have noticed, and this is only anecdotally, but people that I've spoken to and been with over the Christmas period, both in Sydney and away out of Sydney, is that, yes, you're right, baby boomers are reevaluating what they want out of life, especially the second half of their life, and they're intent on downsizing and getting themselves cashed up as well. Is that a true trend out there?
I think so. If you can sell a home in Sydney for somewhere between, say, 1.5 and 2.5, wherever you sit on the radar, and you can go to a lifestyle market and buy for less than $1 million, there's a lot of cash left over there to see you through.
Yeah.
So we call it unlocking the equity, freeing up the balance sheet, your personal balance sheet. So there's a lot of that going on in the market, and we thought it might have happened a little bit earlier than this. The first of the baby boomers turned 70 in 2016, but it seems as though the pandemic was the catalyst for people rearranging their affairs.
A real reset in people's lives. Quite incredible. Now, let's look at the other side of the coin. We've already mentioned landlords. It won't be a flash year for landlords.
No, landlords are better off accepting that the rental market is flat. It's really bad in some suburbs, those that rely on international students. And we're encouraging any of our clients that are impacted that way that they're better off getting whatever rent they can through 2021 and hoping for a recovery in rents in 2022. A lower rent is not the ultimate enemy of a landlord. Vacancy is, Chris.
Vacancy is, yeah.
You're better off getting 70% of full value than 0% of full value.
Okay, because if you're negative gearing, correct me if I'm wrong, you're negative gearing, you're getting less rent, you're getting more back from the tax man, aren't you?
That's right, depending on where interest rates are so low.
Yeah.
That's negative gearing is not such a role here at the moment. Okay. Landlords are wearing pain, there's no doubt about it, but it's only for 12 months, hopefully.
Now, if there's an oversupply in apartments in Sydney, are we actually having situations where apartment blocks and floors are empty?
Not to the degree. We've got a very flat market, and there are a lot of people with vacant properties. I did go to see someone in Ultimo in December that had their apartment vacant from June, and they'd always received over $1,000 a week for it, and nobody wanted it at $650 a week.
Right.
Now, Ultimo is a market that's directly impacted by the international student scenario. So there are instances of that, but by and large, it's a case where landlords, if they reduce their price, they'll lease.
Okay. People looking to upgrade. Is this a negative?
Look, if you are selling an apartment to try and buy a home, this is a very tough environment to do so because the gap between houses and apartments is widening. And I'm seeing that property prices for houses will probably rise somewhere around 5 to possibly 10% in Sydney this year.
Okay. Flammable cladding was an issue that was supposed to be sorted out in 2020. It wasn't. If it's sorted out in 2021, it'll be a cost impost for many people.
It is. And we saw late last year, this was really interesting. Some of our landlords on our rental book received letters from their strata manager saying we're now going to have to take control of the flammable cladding issue. We can't wait for the New South Wales government to offer a direction here. And those landlords who were already hit with lower rents, as discussed, were hit with $20,000 special levies.
Right.
So that's hit at the worst possible time. Very painful for people in that situation.
That is great coverage. That is great coverage and really good information too, mate. Fantastic. You've got some open houses this afternoon. You've got to go to work.
Yes.
I'll let you go. Thank you very much for coming in.
My pleasure. Thanks, Chris.
Great stuff. From Harris Partners Real Estate in Darling Street, Balmain, Peter O'Malley with a really good handle on the outlook for 2021.